The Weekly Warp Pipe.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Weekly Warp Pipe, a podcast dedicated to retro video games, 80s and 90s toys, and all things nostalgia. This week's episode, we're diving into fashion. We're going to do 80s and 90s fashion. Clothes, accessories, footwear. Hopefully, we could get you into that warp pipe and travel back to the time you wore some awesome clothes. Alright, guys, let's get into the episode. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another weekly Warp Pipe. I am your host, RussLyman, and with me...
What's up, guys? I'm Jay from NES Addict.
Yeah, I was going to say, I want to try to implement, if you guys just listen to us on the podcast, we're also on YouTube, so you can check me out at RussLyman. Bit by Bit is one of my other channels, and Snacky Snack Time. And Jay, you can catch him out on NES Addict. We're doing weekly videos, so if you enjoy hearing our voices, maybe you'll enjoy seeing our videos as well.
Maybe you'll like seeing our faces too.
Yeah, we're hip too. We're on the TikTok as well.
That's right. I'm
close to 10K on there, Jay.
Hey, you're killing it, dude.
I saw you surpass that. You're doing pretty good with your... Hey, do you remember this game?
Yeah, it's a simple formula, but it seems to be working, so I'm sticking with it.
Hey, do you remember this game?
Hey, remember this game? People get so mad, like, of course I remember Contra. You're like, that's why I asked.
That's it.
I knew you did.
But we're switching it up this week. We're jumping in the warp pipe. We're taking you back to the 80s and 90s. And we're going to be talking about, I guess, fashion, clothes, accessories, stuff like that.
Yeah, what were you wearing back in the 80s and 90s? That's what we want to know today.
Yeah, you could let us know in the comments section or wherever you follow us on the social media. Jay seems to have a better knowledge of what he was wearing in the 80s. We were both born in 81, so we were in school about the same time, and I have more remembrance of what I wore in the 90s. So we'll kind of go back and forth.
I just tried to block the 90s out of my memory. Just kidding. They were great. The first thing that I remember being a trendy item back in the mid 80s, and I couldn't have been any older than 5 or 6.
Okay.
Were these pretty brightly colored shorts. Hopefully some of you guys remember them, known as jams. J-A-M-Z.
Gotta have the Z in it.
Gotta have the Z.
It's gotta be spelled different. Jams. What, do you remember their commercials at all? Was there a song? These are the jams.
You know, maybe there was. I don't really remember. I just remember that they were like this big thing. I don't even know how I knew about them, to be honest with you, but I just remember wanting them. They were brightly colored. And for those of you watching on YouTube, I have a picture pulled up.
Pull up a picture. So you can focus on that.
Will it focus?
There you go.
Yeah, you can kind of tell.
I mean, bright colors were all the jam back in the 80s. So, and it does say jams on all of them like that, like in the top pocket area.
Oh, that actually has an S on it. So I must have misremembered.
We added the Z. It's a Mandela effect now.
There you go. Mandela effect. Yeah. Yeah. But if they were real jams, they said jams.
So you possibly gotten some bootleg jams.
I had the bootleg jams.
Birthday present, possibly.
Yep. Yeah. Because there's a picture of me sitting on a balloon with some brightly colored shorts, and they were my quote unquote jams. They're probably like gyms or something stupid, some off brand. But
do you remember getting them or seeing them at the stores? Like, what stores would these be in?
That's a great question.
Like sporting goods stores?
No, I mean, I'm pretty sure they were like at like Sears and stuff like that, like clothing stores. Like, but I don't think you would find them at Walmart or Target. I think it had to be like an upper echelon kind of like something you would get at the mall, maybe.
Gotcha.
Which is probably why
to the mall.
Why I probably had the fake ones. Those dollar store jams.
There you go.
But yeah, they were pretty. They were at the happening thing. So
I'll say, I can't remember wearing them at all. So maybe my parents just didn't catch them or didn't think I would like them. I just had generic shorts.
Which is funny because if you know Russ wears some colorful clothing. So I think they would have been right up your alley.
I imagine so. Maybe I can get some now and rock them at a convention.
There you go.
Well, one thing I was rocking back, this is being high school in the 90s, Jenko Jeans. Jenko Jeans, however you pronounce it. The jeans with the giant bottoms.
I remember those so well. And I remember I was in a really big skateboarding phase. in high school, about mid-high school, 10th grade. And for whatever reason, I thought that's what skaters wore. I don't actually think that's true because it's almost impossible to move in those things. But I was going to say
skateboarding, not so much. Rollerblading, that's where it was at.
Gotcha.
Because then it almost looks like you're floating because you can't see the rollerblades because the jeans are so big.
Yeah, I remember just like grunge music being a real big influence in the mid 90s. And like, all the cool kids had Jenkos on.
Right. And there are different sizes that you can, you got your waist length that you would get, and then you would have the size of the bottom of the pants, and they can go anywhere up to like 80 inches, like so big. They would get so like you're trying to walk and it's so baggy. I definitely remember us being able to fit like another kid under the pants. Like he would crawl over him, boom, Jenko jeans over him. You could sneak extra buddies into concerts.
That's amazing.
With these jeans.
Hold on to my legs, guys. We're sneaking in.
Right. And not that I did it, but I'm sure they were great if you're doing some shoplifting back in the 90s. These giant jeans, maybe you can get a fridge or some speakers.
A car.
But I think I might have had maybe one pair. I don't think I bought many of them. And I'm trying to remember the different printed like logos that they had.
I feel like jeans. One of them had like a bulldog and one of them was called Big Rig. Does that ring a bell?
One of the off brands that was, I'm sure that fits in there. It doesn't ring a bell with me, but I'd imagine.
I think Jenko it had like a crown, didn't it? Right. Wasn't like the crown logo?
I think it was like a green crown. I'm picturing green and for some reason orange on the balls of the crown, but yeah.
Yeah, I definitely remember having a pair of those. I thought it was so cool. Man, was I wrong?
I seen them actually a few weeks ago. I went out to Philly for a car show called RAD Wood, and the car show is specific to 80s and 90s cars. And they, encourage you to dress also as well. And so someone won for best dress. He had Jenko jeans on, and the total like remember the ball necklace, like the silver ball tight necklace.
Oh yeah, like a choker.
Right, yep. Right. So he had those on. Those are big. I think I didn't wear the necklace. I think I had a bracelet with the silver balls on.
Did he have the butt cut with long hair?
I'm trying to remember if he did. He definitely had like one of those wild haircuts.
I remember kids having like their hair like parted right down the middle with really long and in their face.
Or you would shave it underneath.
Yeah.
And have it really long on that.
Yep.
We could jump into hair if you want. That's a good segue of because I had some hairdos back in the day.
Fortunately, I didn't. Let's talk about another 80s brand. Well,
okay.
I call it 80s. Who knows? Maybe it went back to the 70s. I don't know. I was all into the skating and surfing stuff, but Rusty brand t-shirts had like a big rad looking R on the back with usually a design, maybe a surfboard, but I definitely rocked some Rusty. No pun intended, Russ.
You'd think I would wear these, having it be called Rusty.
I know. And once again, for the people that are actually watching on YouTube, if I can get this pulled up here.
If you swiped it. There you go. There's the big R.
It looked like that. So it was, I don't know, just 80s looking. I just thought they were so cool. I wouldn't mind having another one now.
I mean, yeah, it's, coming back around with those bright colors and everything. I can definitely see myself rocking that shirt for sure. I don't know what they're going for on eBay. Vintage t-shirts definitely are all the rage, so they could be going for a pretty penny.
Yeah, unless there's new stock. I don't know if they're coming back out. Who knows? I'll have to look into it.
Right. Yeah, as for t-shirts and stuff, most of the time I spent shopping at PacSun was in the mall. So skater clothes just for me were like Quicksilver, DC, like anything that they sold there. I grabbed whatever Blink-182 was wearing.
Audio.
Hurley.
Yeah, exactly. Hurley all day.
Absolutely. Yeah. So those are the kind of I don't remember the Rusty brand though.
Yeah, said it was 80s. So you're probably like in 3rd, 4th, 5th grade when people were rocking those.
Yeah, I think I just had some generic t-shirts. I do have a picture of me in a Ninja Turtles sweatshirt during Christmas time. I was opening some gifts.
Oh yeah, Turtles wear was clutch.
Right. So I definitely picked some of that stuff up. What kid didn't? He's wearing pajamas and t-shirts.
What you got?
What else we got?
90s, Russ?
I got some. We'll go with shoes. These were pretty big, I would say. If you guys remember Soap's freestyle walking shoes.
I actually do not have any recollection of that whatsoever. So
okay,
fill me in.
Let me break it down for you. So Soaps, I guess they got their name because what I can assume is when you go to skate a ledge, you would soap the ledge up. So it's, slicker. So you can jump on there with your skateboard or your rollerblade. And what these were a shoe that the middle part was cut out and it was replaced with a piece of plastic, essentially, that you use to grind on the ledge.
So what's funny is I remember the shoe. I don't remember the name brand, but I remember that plastic piece now that I'm seeing.
And so instead of skating or rollerblading or whatever, you're basically running around and jumping up on stuff and grinding with your shoes. So this way you can just, walk to the mall, wear them in school, and then you can do some grinding. Hit a rail. Yeah. I got a different pair. Rollerblade actually got into the game, and my pair had that cutout, but then they also had two little metal bars that would roll too. So you get more, I guess, I don't know, traction or speed with it. I feel like that'd probably be more dangerous. You slip more.
Go even faster.
One of the kids in my high school, we had a little rail in the courtyard that went down some stairs, and he jumped on the rail to grind it, fell, broke his wrist. So
sounds like a nightmare. No wonder Soaps didn't stick around long.
Yeah. The only other incident I had was when we performed on the school stage. They had like a talent show or whatever, and I had worn my rollerblade versions of the shoe. And the director said that my shoe scratched up the stage, but I'm like, I don't think it could have, because it's arched over so the wheels don't touch.
Dang it, Russ.
I don't know. Soaps. I looked them up like recently to see if I could grab a pair, but they're still, they're pretty penny.
Soaps. Those are crazy. So recently I was flicking through my TikTok feed, and it was like all these 80s nostalgia things. And I come upon an image that I hadn't seen in a long time.
Okay.
And that was the brand Rude Dog.
A Rude Dog.
And it was this cool looking dog, almost kind of a Spuds McKenzie looking dog with sunglasses. Once again, I'm going to try to show a picture for those of you on YouTube.
Yeah.
And you can't see him that great. Anyway, bright colored shirts, just like the Rusty shirts and just like the jams. So I must have been like really into the neons in the 80s.
Right. I mean, they stood out. Nice bright colors and all that. And then anything with animals, like you said, Spud McKenzie was definitely big back in the day. And it's funny how it's like, as young kids, we remember that, but he was for a beer. Bud Light, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Bud Light, I think it was.
Yeah, but he was like an icon. The other thing about Rude Dog was it had a short-lived cartoon.
Oh, okay.
Yep. It's called Rude Dog and the something. I don't remember what the other characters are called, but it's like the Morons or something. I don't remember.
Okay. I'll have to try to look that up on YouTube, see how many seasons it went.
Probably like
one season. Rude Dog. The artwork almost kind of reminded me of like Cat Dog.
Yeah, it does kind of a cat dog kind of vibe.
So I wonder if the artist like tried again in the 90s and was like, let's bring this back. It's called Cat Dog. Let's throw a cat in the back of him. Instead of him being rude.
No, he's just deformed.
Now I wonder if that was just, as again, I don't remember this brand at all, so I don't know if it's just more West Coast, or you're from South Carolina.
That's right, East Coast, baby.
And I'm in Connecticut, so a little bit higher up. So I don't know if that brand kind of reached out towards us.
Yeah, maybe because I went to Myrtle Beach a lot, and like it might have been like a Florida thing. But I feel like I remember this girl named Kim Armstrong, who was like the cutest girl in like second grade.
Shout out to Kim Armstrong if you're out there.
That's right, Kim Armstrong. And I feel like she had a Rude Dog shirt. I don't know. I could be mistaken. I could be just fabricating this up for this the fact of a story. But anyway,
fair enough. What I do remember in the 90s, for whatever reason, this was a thing that stood out. They had Bugs Bunny and the Tasmanian Devil like dressed up in like hip hop clothes. And they were like, yeah, backwards, like very crisscross. They had like backwards pants, backwards hats, like jerseys with gold chains, arms crossed. And you would just get like them printed on like t-shirts and stuff.
Yeah, that was a thing, wasn't it? I remember that.
So I don't know where that came about. Maybe because of Space Jam. I don't know if it came out before or after. So you're like, okay, you're maybe people that like hip hop also like basketball and cartoon characters. Let's start using these to sell some clothes.
It was very like urban centric. I don't know. I feel like I saw a lot of it at like theme parks.
Oh,
like,
okay.
Like Carowinds or Six Flags. I don't know if you guys have those in Connecticut.
We have a Six Flags, yeah, there's the one.
But
Six
I feel
Flags
like some of the prizes you won had like those characters on it like that, like because it was such a thing.
Right. I remember that. And also you remember Calvin and Hobbes?
Yes.
Like they did that, similar with that. And then I've seen tons of clothes, stickers, and shirts with Calvin peeing on whatever you don't like.
Yeah, like Ford.
like
or
Ford,
Chevy.
whatever, Yankees, like anything you don't like, that's what he's peeing on.
What about like bootleg Simpson shirts? Do you remember those?
Yeah, so funny with the bootleg, like a lot of times when it was back to school time and I would go to get clothes, Dad would bring me to like the flea market. So you're going to be getting these knockoff things. That's why I seen a bunch of the Calvin and Hobbes, like it'd be on your pant leg and he's like peeing on Adidas or whatever. But yeah, they definitely had like off-colored Simpsons characters. They're like orange instead of yellow.
Yeah, they went all kind of places with them. But I definitely remember those. Man, I had a thought. Classic. What was it? Oh, I lost it. Never mind.
I would to go back to shoes. Two other shoes that I wore a lot in the 90s. Saucony's. If you remember those, they had like this like S in the middle, and then they all came in like different colors. So I definitely got like 4 or 5 pairs of different shades because I like them. I believe I picked them up at Journeys.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. So I got those. But before that, I was rocking the Adidas shoes. I don't know what they were called, but it was basically whatever shoes that like Fred Durst had or like
shell toe.
Yeah. They're like hard in the front of it and they're white. And then they had the 3 stripes going down. So I definitely had a few pairs of those. Those were like all the rage.
So my go-to Adidas shoe was Sambas.
I don't know what those
Sambas.
are. Sambas shoes. Sounds comfortable.
They were, Tom DeLonge used to wear them. They're black, white stripes, you know, canvas shoes, kind of bubble gum, or what do they call that? That gum sole kind of.
Right. Like the Vans high tops, basically.
Exactly. Do you remember, what about this 90s shoe? This was popular in like the later 90s. It was kind of a preppy thing. Okay. Birkenstocks. Did you ever wear Birkenstocks?
I never did, no.
Yeah, I wore some Bostons. I had some Boston Birkenstocks. That was the thing to wear.
Go to a Drop Murphy concert. Dropkick Murphys.
Yeah. No, I don't think I was doing that. But
Marilyn Manson, maybe?
Nope, not Marilyn Manson either. Maybe like Backstreet Boys. No, but I remember what I was going to say a minute ago. I remember going, you were talking about the jockey or the flea market. I remember going to the flea market in like 3rd grade, getting like a New Kids on the Block t-shirt.
Nice.
I wish my mother would have been like, those are for girls, but she let me buy it anyway.
Hey, when I remember distinctly, New Kids on the Block had like a special that was going on, and one of my mom's friends like ordered it or whatever, and we went over their house, and I remember watching the concert and just being like, this is awesome.
I can remember like 3rd grade girls being like, I have a crush on Jordan. No, I like this one. And I'm like, I just like their songs.
Right. It's the right stuff, baby.
That's right. Oh. Anyway. All right. So I'm going to bounce back to the 80s.
Okay.
This was a shirt a clothing brand that I saw a lot of shirts of when I was a kid. And I always thought it was so cool. And I only think I ever got one of them, maybe like at a TJ Maxx because it was on sale.
Okay.
And it had this weird logo of like a fish man, like I don't know if it's a whale or a shark, but he's like holding a flag in the ground, and it's gotcha. Once again, I'm going to try to show this.
Looks like a street shark almost.
Yeah. So it's kind of like this weird like shark, but it was like definitely like a surf brand. And you saw them a lot with like the Rusty shirts and all that stuff. So I was very attracted to that lifestyle, even at 6, 7, 8 years old.
I'd say you live close to the beach. Yeah, I know you have a surfboard because I've seen it before.
Yeah.
So did you grow up like surfing or just
I'm from Surfside Beach, South Carolina, but I didn't live there long enough to really remember it other than going back to visit grandparents every summer.
Yeah.
So maybe I got the culture that way, but I did always feel like it was like my quote unquote hometown because I was there in the summer. My mom was always like, "This is where you're from."
Right.
So maybe I just like ingrained in my brain, but that beach life culture.
That's what I said. Like I have basically it's Long Island Sound. It's not the actual ocean in Connecticut. So the waves aren't as big as they would be with you. So we don't get any, surfers here.
No, Myrtle Beach doesn't have great waves. That's why my board's like 7'6", so it floats on anything.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, so I was gonna say maybe that's why I didn't get into any of the surf clothing or whatever. I gravitated towards skating clothing instead.
Yeah,
you could skate anywhere essentially.
Well, that was me in the 90s, the skate clothes. So,
gotcha.
What you got next, Russ?
I'd say windbreakers, the clothing. It was all like you got windbreaker pants, windbreaker jackets.
Yeah.
Why?
The matching pants and jackets.
Yes.
I remember that being a big thing with women. I remember like in 92 or 93, my mom and sister got like matching outfits like that. They look so ridiculous, but I even think I had one too. And they're always like crazy colors, like bright green and purple and and gray.
Almost mimics, I'd say, even probably late 80s, like all the skiing snowboard outfits that'd be like one or like bright blue with pinks and triangles and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
But yeah, all this windbreakers. I mean, I definitely had a few windbreaker pants I would wear. I don't think I ever wore it fully, like the full outfit. I probably had the pants and then a regular t-shirt or a hoodie on. And I do remember, you remember the Adidas pants that you could rip off with the buttons?
Oh yeah, I had a pair of those in the 90s. I think I recently got rid of them like a couple of years ago because they were like the buttons wore out. They wouldn't even stay buttoned anymore
from ripping them off so much.
So you know where I got the idea for wanting those?
Okay.
Do you remember the movie Road Trip with Sean William Scott and Tom Green?
Yeah.
Sean William Scott wore a pair in that movie, and I thought he was like the coolest looking person ever in the late 90s. And I was like, I got to get some pants like Sean William Scott.
Nice. and then just wore them to parties. And
then I wore them to parties, and then I realized I didn't look nearly as cool as he did.
Blast.
Stifler is way cooler than me.
I can pull it off better. To go with the ripping off of the pants. What also was big, you remember shorts that you could zip the legs off of?
Yes. Yeah, I never got into those. I even thought those were lame. So
I had a pair. I definitely had a pair. I was like, this is convenient.
Lame.
I could go to school in the morning, waiting for the bus. It's cold. And then by midday, you're hot. Zip off the bottom portion of your pants and you got shorts.
That's not a terrible idea though. Cause like a lot of times I'd send my son to school in the morning and I'd be like, no, dude, you got to wear pants. It's too cold. You could just zip them off halfway through and he'd be good to go.
That's it.
Genius.
Then you could start doing your own fashion because you can get two different colors. You can zip them on to the other pair and have your bottom legs a different color.
I would have never thought of that, but that's a great idea, Russ.
Bringing the fashion.
Russ's fashion tips, bit by bit. All right, so bouncing back to the 80s, I must have just like loved this culture because the next brand I have, they had the old Jimmy station wagon with a surfboard sticking out the back, and it was known as Jimmy Z's.
The Z is in this one, Jimmy's.
Maybe that's where I got it. Maybe that's where I pulled the Z from Jams. But yeah, Jimmy Z, it was just like I said, an old station wagon type vehicle with a surfboard sticking out the back and the name, and that was about it.
So they just had different variations, I guess, of that logo.
Yeah, and they might have had some different graphics and stuff, but that was like the main graphic that you saw in most of it.
Jimmy Z's again. Yeah, I don't remember this at all, so I don't know if I
remember having like a light blue Jimmy Z T-shirt that I thought was so cool. Gonna have to get on eBay and buy another one.
I'm gonna have to make notes of all these and see if I catch these at any Goodwills and Savers.
Oh yeah. Hit me up. Let me know. You got any more 90s clothes, Russ?
Let's see. I made some other notes. Not clothes. We're gonna go accessories real quick.
All right.
You remember the Casio watches with your calculator?
Oh yeah, that was a thing.
It's like you could cheat on your test if the teacher didn't notice you had a calculator on your watch.
That's what everybody thought. Yeah, going back to the 80s on that one, I remember the old Nintendo watches. You're like, you could play games in school. Kind of the same idea.
Absolutely, yeah. You gotta make sure you turn the sound off so it's not like beep, 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 beep.
And when I was really young, they had watches with like robots on them, and you could pull the robots off and play with them.
What?
Oh,
like a Transformer almost?
Kinda, yeah.
The only other watch I remember is it would have a remote for a TV in it. And if you knew the make of the TV and like the universal code, you can then control the TV with your watch. So anytime we were in school and some classes we had like the TV built in or whatever, and we'd try to like get the code, and then you could turn on the TV during class to disrupt class.
Mess with your teacher.
Right. You're like, well, who's turning this TV on? Turning up the volume.
Have like static and stuff on there.
Right. So I thought that was kind of neat. I was looking into maybe getting like, they have newer versions of those Casio watches with the calculator and stuff, because Marty McFly wore one in Back to the Future.
That's awesome. That's so cool. It's
so
like the Apple Watch of the 90s.
Right.
I remember in the late 80s, Iron Man watches were really cool. Just regular old Iron Man watches with like the triathlon little orange dude that with like an M and like a circle for his head.
I don't know if I remember those.
I remember this guy at my church named Stephen Abercrombie had one, and I always thought he was so cool for having it.
His last name was Abercrombie?
Yeah.
Like the clothing store? Did he go and find that? He was like, you know what? I should make some clothing.
Yep. So funny. All right, Russ, I got one more 80s clothing item for you that I got to bring up. I wore a pair of these that looked probably identical to this pair I'm looking at on my phone.
Okay.
In third grade, second or third grade. I can't remember. But if you were a skater in the late 80s, Vision streetwear were all the rage. And
Vision streetwear.
They had this really cool Vision logo that you can probably barely see there. But they had the funkiest shoes. It was kind of like them versus Airwalk in like the late 80s.
Airwalk, that brings me back too.
There you go. So you remember Airwalk. So one cool thing about Vision that I didn't know until a couple years back when I got into retro gaming, but they were a sponsor in the Wizard movie, and Lucas and all his buddies are rocking Vision streetwear in that movie. So next time you watch the Wizard, look at their clothing. It's all Vision streetwear.
Wow, that's a fun fact for sure. Yeah, who would have known?
Who knew?
Who knew? They got the sponsorship and Airwalk didn't.
That's right. And I think you can find Vision streetwear in Target now. I think their skateboards are like low quality, but there is a form of it out there still to this day.
So they're still going. That's good. That's good to know.
Yeah.
So many good clothes. I was going to talk about, so back in the day, I would dye my hair. I had longer hair. Going the short route now. Keeps cool, easy to maintain. But
that's right.
If you look at my high school picture, I had hair like down to my chin because I was big. I was a big Bush fan, and Gavin Rossdale was definitely one of my idols. So I had long blonde hair. So I rocked that for a bit, but then we dyed it bright red because he had dyed his hair. So I'm like, I'm going to go bright red.
That greedy fly.
So I had that for a bit. And then I remember, because we would dye our hair often, use like the bleach pack you get at whatever the convenience store. I remember one time, like I said, we would shave the underside of our hair. So on the back of my head, we did like a smiley face just with the dye. Like we'd put the dye, let it sit. And when you wash it out, if I put my hair back up like that, you would see like a smiley face. So I'd be like in class and the kid behind me would be like, whoop.
That's hilarious.
I thought that was kind of fun. It's like, all right, something different to do.
Absolutely.
We had that. And then piercing ears. I don't know if you had your ears pierced in high school. I had one of my friends pierce my ears. We got an ice cube and a sewing needle. Boom, right in the ear. I ended up doing little hoop earrings. Again, Gavin Rossdale has ears pierced. That's what he was rocking. So I had that for a little bit until gauging your ears became a thing. So I had 4 holes in my ear, and then when I started gauging it, like they kind of met. You can see one of them on one of my ears still, but now I have I believe these are 2 gauges. That's as big as I went, but some people went 00, started going 1/2 inch, like huge holes.
Yeah, 2 was the highest I got too. And I think I got my left ear pierced in the very late 90s, maybe 99, 2000. It might have even been the 2000s. But when Blink-182, when Tom DeLonge started gauging his ears, I had to have the exact identical gauges. So that was,
of course,
I had that in the early 2000s, but I don't think it was the 90s. All right,
yeah,
I got
one more.
One more. I got to get this in. This is a shirt that came out. This is actually a 90s clothing. So I'm going to move forward a decade. But there was a brand called Hypercolor. For those of you that remember, it's not shown up, but basically it would be like kind of like a blue or a purple or a pink shirt, and you can put your hand on it and leave it there for a minute, and the heat from your body would turn the shirt colors temporarily for maybe 2-3 minutes, however much heat you put into it, and then when it cooled back off, it would go back. But it was like a really neat idea, and I don't think it lasted but maybe a year or so, but Hypercolor was pretty dope.
Now, I wonder, would it work if you just went out into the hot sun, like at the beach? Your shirt would change to like all pink?
Probably. I don't know. That seems very reasonable that if you went out in like the hot sun that it would change. But I just remember putting my hands on it and like changing.
You're like, look, I can make designs.
Yeah, it was awesome. Our blow on it.
Something to keep you occupied in class.
Yep. Which, as if I needed that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed chatting about 80s and 90s fashion. Maybe you remember more than I did about the 80s. But yeah, hopefully it was a fun nostalgia trip. Jumping in the warp pipe.
Every Saturday,
7 a.m. Yeah, we've been going good. You can catch us here on YouTube or on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and a ton of other places, Google as well. So you can listen to us there or see us on YouTube. Again, if you want to check us out on YouTube, RussLyman is my channel, or Bit by Bit. And if you enjoy food reviews, Snacky Snack Time. And where can we find you, Jay?
NES Addict, ADDICT, not addict like in the top of your house.
Like an addiction for Nintendo.
Exactly. Yep.
Sweet. Well, it's been awesome, man. Thanks everyone for tuning in and listening. Again, I'm RussLyman. Keep your world fun bit by bit.
Take care, guys.